Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Tuesday, September 5th, 2017. I am Dan Ruman. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. Hope everybody had a happy and healthy extended Labor Day weekend. I know I did. I know Duane Long did. Duane joins me as always on Tuesday. Duane, overcast in the Gem City. I assume it's the same in Columbus.
Yeah, it is. But this is a week we've been waiting on for a while, and this is the first one we've been really anticipating. We expected to just go through Indiana and, get right to this one. So excited about the weekend.
No question. It's arguably one of the two biggest home games of the year on the schedule from where we look now. Before we get too much into Oklahoma, let's take a quick look back at Indiana. After having the opportunity to watch all the teams play this past weekend, where do you put the win over Indiana in context for the Buckeyes?
Well, I think that the way you laid it out is perfect. We look at this weekend, and it was not what many Buckeye fans were looking for Thursday night. I thought we ended the game extremely well. The second half and the first half, two completely different games. We seemed to just come out early and didn't find a rhythm. Did not execute like we thought we should. And then in the second half, it was like almost like a completely different team. And then you look at other games. We were anticipating the Florida State Alabama game for how long now? I mean, it was almost as hyped as the McGregor-Mayweather fight, and I don't know. I didn't think it was either team really impressed. So when you put the game in context of who's the best team, Ohio State looked better than either Florida State or Alabama. It just I didn't see where either team could. People are saying, well, I don't know, like Joey Galloway, he dropped Ohio State from second to third, and so what? You didn't drop Alabama when they didn't look that impressive against Florida State. They really didn't. They got issues at quarterback. There was complaints from Buckeye fans about J.T. Barrett. Well, he looked better than Francois or Hurd. So I think you need to put that in perspective. So I'm fine opening on the road. The first game, under a new coordinator. Let's just give it a minute here, and still ran up a 28-point win on the road. I just think that perspective is the key word there.
Agreed. Everything I'm hearing from people I trust is that this Indiana team is actually decent. The secondary is supposed to be above average. I was talking to someone, and they said, listen, this Indiana has a better defense than Nebraska. So we shall see. I think some of it needs to be put in context with what Indiana does for the rest of the year. I will say this. I didn't come out of this weekend thinking there was any team that Ohio State can't beat on its best day. Now, that's rare anyway, that they can't beat every team on their best day, but still a good thing to realize. Alabama is a very good team and very talented. They did lose two starting outside linebackers. One, Terrell Lewis, people remember as Terrell Hall, a one-time Ohio State commitment out of the DMV. But I don't think depth is an issue in Alabama. But still, I would agree. I didn't see anything from the quarterback that makes me nervous. That dude wants to run anytime there's pressure. I don't know if you're ever getting that out of his system from what I saw. So I think we're in good shape there in the national perspective. And the rest of the challengers to the title, we'll see. Break it down individually a little bit here. We talked about so many guys leading up to this first game. Expectations were high for a ton of individuals. Did the Indiana game change your mind on any Buckeye individually from what you saw?
No, I guess the one thing that still is a question mark is what do we have at receiver? Only completed 8 balls to any receiver, split end. Flank. We just 8 balls. That's just not good enough. Dan, we got to get the ball down the field. We've got to get the ball down the field. If you tell a defensive coordinator that he does not have to defend the last third of the field, he's going to get a big grin on his face. And we're just not doing it. And so often, they showed 3 plays from an end zone perspective, and we don't even have guys running the routes to get down the field. None of those 3 plays showed us throwing the ball down the field. Didn't even have receivers down in the last third of the field. Now, you got to try to throw it down there first. Before you can talk about Barrett not completing passes down the field, we've got to run. We got to have a guy down there to try to catch the football. So that would be the one thing I'd look back and say, okay. The other thing is the corner opposite Ward. We still got to work that through. And now let's go back, and Indiana receivers just performed. If they do that all season, those guys are both going to the NFL, and they're going pretty high. They really performed in this game. I saw Ward make so many plays in this game. And you look at the one guy, Cobbs, had, about 150 yards receiving, but he was making spectacular plays all night. It wasn't like he was open. He was beating his cornerback. He was just making plays on the ball. He's 6'4" and a good athlete. He was just making plays. So let's talk about perspective. If you go back and look at that, and 68 balls in the air, it's not surprising. Think about this, Dan. Ohio State averaged more than a yard per catch better than Indiana, because Indiana put that many balls in the air. So it's again, perspective. That would be the couple of things that I would point out. Defensive line just was incredible all night. People talk about the second half. No, it was all night. They were pressuring that guy. He was hit. He was knocked down. It was his time to throw the ball. Well, they were getting the ball out of there so quick. The linemen were breaking through all night from the first play. So I think, again, perspective. Let's just look at the game and see what happened there.
Agreed. I'll say one thing that I also thought was a real positive was the guys who moved around on the offensive line looked pretty good. Isaiah Prince, it continues to show me that when Urban puts a ton of faith in a guy publicly, even when he struggles, in the back of my mind, I really feel like it's going to work out for the guy. I've used Curtis Samuel as an example there. The example, and Paris Campbell's another one he's always spoken highly of, and there's always Isaiah Prince was the first guy to get his black stripe off when he was a freshman, and he looked fantastic. There's a great thread going now from one of our users who watched the coaches film, and you can see he's a different guy. So I'm happy that was a case of a guy probably getting pushed into action maybe a little too early last year and having to learn on the fly. And now it looks like he's on his way to becoming the standout tackle that we all thought he'd be, which is excellent. All right, let's shift our focus a little bit here. Oklahoma is coming into town. They had a very impressive first week showing. I think Baker Mayfield was 19 of 20 from the floor, had a bunch of threes. But seriously, this game last year was no question Ohio State's most impressive performance of the year. It was the Noah Brown Palooza. 4 touchdown passes, including one of the most spectacular catches you'll ever see in a football game. Different vibe this year. Now Ohio State is at home. Night game. Oklahoma. What is your vibe as we sit here, 6 days out?
I guess that I just think that what's different, Baker Mayfield suddenly became Tom Brady. I mean, he's a good quarterback, but I don't think anything has really changed, Dan, except that Ohio State's defensive front seven can dominate games. We saw that with Indiana. You mentioned earlier, Indiana's a better football team than I thought they were. That's part of the issue last Thursday. We said, well, they've lost Kevin Wilson. It's over for them. They've had their time, but obviously not. Oklahoma is not so much different from the team we just opened up a can of whoop ass on in their joint last year. I don't see anything different except a more veteran front seven, a more versatile front seven, a deeper front seven. I just don't see where anything's really going to be that different. So I'm a lot less worried about this game than some are. I think that this is going to be a woodshed again.
I do think there's a lot of things working in Ohio State's favor here. Just the basic overall stuff at home, at night, season opener. Anyone who's been in the shoe for something like that, it's a volcano of emotion in there. That's a very tough thing to deal with for a team like Oklahoma coming off a game against an inferior opponent. Secondly, the player that I feared last year and that every time he touched the ball made me scared for Oklahoma now plays for the Bengals. That's Joe Mixon. I don't know why he didn't get the ball more last year. Now, Samaje Perine is actually probably going to end up starting for the Redskins this year, too, so that's impressive. But still, D.D. Westbrook is gone as well, though he didn't do much against Ohio State last year. I just have a hard time believing that team they beat so summarily last year is going to come back and do it this year. I'm not a Baker Mayfield guy. I think he's somewhat counterfeit. And I'll say this. If he tries to dance around the pocket and extend plays, he's going to get crushed. Because we were wrong about some stuff about the Buckeyes this year. Here's two things we were right about. One, J.K. Dobbins. Two, the defensive line, the third-team defensive line is what made such an impact. When you get tired and you have to fight against a fresh Jayshon Cornell and Jonathan Cooper, that's proven to be fatal. So I look for new and interesting guys to contribute on the defensive line this week, and I would agree. I feel like it's going to be a blowout. I don't know if I'm being overconfident, but again, Bucknuts, not Buck Rational Observers. Last up, this will be one of the main two visit weekends of the year. The Penn State game will also be red carpet heavy. I encourage you to go to a Bucknuts right now and check out Bill Kurlich's updated list of visitors. It has broken down by year, by official visit, by unofficial visit. It is a star-studded list. Who are three guys that are coming this weekend that you think need some little extra red carpet treatment?
Well, we need to get this thing with Cook over the top. We need to
Anthony
get that
Cook,
done.
defensive back out of Texas. Go ahead.
We need to get that done. Hopefully we can get a commitment out of him and put Texas even further in the rearview mirror. I don't think that he was in the stadium for the Texas-Maryland game, and I doubt he saw anything that impressed him there.
I was just going to say that Texas did a good job of helping us out this past weekend.
So that's a kid we need to go ahead and get done. I look at Owe.
Jason Owe, defensive end out of Blairstown, New Jersey, the Blair Academy.
He's just flown up my want list. When you look at how inexperienced that kid at playing football, he shouldn't even know what he's doing out there right now, and he kind of doesn't. But he's just one of those kids that you just say, oh my goodness, what can he be? So we want to get that done. And Noah Cain, to me, is the best back who will be playing high school football next year. Forget about class. I think Noah Cain is the best there is, who's not playing on a college football field. So I want to put you know, he's a 2019 kid. I want us to solidify our, we're in good shape with him. I don't think we can say we lead, but we're definitely in it on his short list. We want to make sure we secure that kid. Get ourselves in a better position with that kid. Those are the three guys. It's a really outstanding list. I'm sure the Penn State game is going to be even better, but this right now, love the early season, you know, opportunity to impress some kids against the quality opponents at night. And, yeah, we need to, there's a number of kids on that list, but those are the three that just absolutely leap out at me. I throw fourth name in there's Togier, but I don't know.
Tommy Togai.
Yeah. I don't know how good a shape we're in. That just seems to me to be, maybe a bridge too far, but he would be the fourth guy that I'd throw in there that I hope we impress.
Definitely an impressive list. Noah Kane is certainly an interesting guy. If you look at he's a running back at IMG, class of 2019, 5'11", 207, prototype size. If you look at his crystal ball right now, it's got 5 teams in there, more than 10%, which means nobody knows where he's going. He is worth checking out. And I will tell you this, I cannot believe the recruiting for him to see a true freshman running back put up 181 in his debut. So we have that. We appreciate Duane stopping by. Going to be a power-packed week here on Bucknuts as we run up to game day coming in town and a huge, huge home game. So have a great week, Bucknutters. Welcome back.